Right, welcome back to Baguettes ASBOs. I'm Matty Wild.
I'm John Harding, and today we're at Oulton Park in the ASBO, as you can see. We've just been out, we've done the sighting lap.
And we've had a fault code already, we've got problems.
We've been here for the last half an hour or so, checking all the plugs, unplugging and plugging them back in. And we've jacked it up and he's found one underneath. So hopefully that is it resolved now. Fingers crossed. What's the verdict? They can't even see us. Read codes. Still there.
That's a different one.
Go on, try and clear them now.
Now when it started up, it acted different then.
Well, that spanner's still on there.
Oh yeah, we've not cleared it. Can't get rid of it.
Right, we haven't fixed it.
Right, okay, so we've just done sighting laps, we've got engine problems, we're back in the pits, we need to try and sort this out. But if you've watched any of the last videos, you knew that I had this white smoke issue and it keeps happening, it's getting worse. So let's just go back in time to the Garage of Dreams and try and sort that out. So it's a few days earlier and we're back in the Garage of Dreams. Like I've said, I've got white smoke coming out the exhaust. Could be condensation, it could be something worse. It could be a head gasket issue. So I've decided to buy a little head gasket testing kit just to be 100%, because we've had that many problems with this car. I don't want to take any chances. So it's just a case of removing the filler cap, adding the kit, filling it with the fluid, and we're basically going to run it up to temperature and let the fumes run through the kit. And if it turns yellow, and it means we're getting combustion gases coming through the coolant. So the results are in, we are looking good, it has stayed blue. So next, let's try and fit this new K-brace that I purchased. And the K-brace that we've gone for is a BAF Motorsports K-brace, same colour as my cage. It bolts in at the bottom down here, and then we've got a handy little riv nut tool that comes in the kit. And then we need to drill and bolt it in there. Right, for anyone that's interested, the riv nut tool, basically pop the riv nut in, hold this tight with the 19 and tighten that up by hand with the 17 until this pulls and clamps on the metal, and then just loosen it off. As easy as that. If you really get stuck, there's a handy video online that you can just search BAF Motorsport riv nut tool. So I have purchased this, but the guys at BAF Motorsport have provided me with a discount code, so go and check them out. I'll link it in the description. Back to Oulton Park. Alright, so absolute nightmare with the car. Engine management light came on straight away on the sighting laps. We've been working on it ever since. I think I might have just found it. I've got a TurboSmart BOV Shorty compact bypass plug that goes in it. That seems to be missing. There was also a plug missing. I plugged that in. I've cleared the codes off and it's idling okay, but we can't go back out on track at the minute because there's a red flag. And it looks quite serious, I'm not going to lie. The whole track's shut. The fire engine's just come. I really hope everyone's okay. While we were sitting in the paddock waiting for the news, I found out what actually happened. A driver called Lucas, channel Morley2212, I'll link him below, had a brake disc failure on track. The disc didn't just fade, it failed catastrophically. The car went over the barrier, hit a tree and caught fire. This is what was left. Lucas got out, he's okay, and I want to be really clear about that because those photos are difficult to look at. But I think it's important to show them because this is the reality of what can happen on a track day. Here's the thing that really struck with me. When I spoke to Lucas afterwards, he told me the discs had done 5 UK track days, 2 Spa double headers and a Nürburgring day. Just over a year old. And this is what he said, and I'm going to quote him directly because this is the most honest thing I've heard anyone say after an accident like this. They were old, and I should have changed them sooner, simple. He also said, and this matters, that he always braked late and hard on slips. He pushed them to the limit and eventually the limit pushed back. Track days are incredible, I love them, the channel exists because of them. But they are not without risks, and that risk goes up significantly if your car isn't prepared properly. Brake discs don't always look warm when they're past the safe limit. They can look absolutely fine right up until the moment they don't. Lucas's own advice, change them more often than you think you need to, even if they don't look done. Check your discs, check your pads, check your fluid, check your connections, which brings me back to why I was in the paddock in the first place. They've called it, so we didn't even manage to get out on track. We did sighting laps, and that is it. So that is what you call a disaster of a track day.
That is what you call true Baguettes and ASBOs fashion. Only this time, it's probably because I was here actually, but next time we are here, we're going to be here as a team. 2 cars.
Yeah,
You
nightmare.
heard it here first. Mine's nearly ready.
The Baguette and the ASBO for the first time. Well, oh dear. We want to be bringing our track cars to Oulton Park in one of these, with one of these trailers. So do us a favour, click the link in the description and buy us a brew. You know what to do. A spicy meatball, Mark 8, side exit exhaust, Puma speed. Look at the diffuser on that.
My God, look at the hole underneath.
These two beasts. Look at this little ASBO. Beautiful, that's 280.
Sitting as well, mate. Turn it around.
Tony's not here, so I can't ask him if he's going to be on video. So if this made it in, I've spoke to him. Look at that Club Sport, beautiful. She's not going to be much of a pit walk today because they've just called it and everybody's going home. Baguettes and ASBOs Mark 2 coming soon to a channel near you. That's a proper ASBO. Well, at least she looks pretty, John.
Definitely does.
The paperweight. Honestly, am I ever going to get this under 2-minute track time here?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Might as well give up.
Should have gone out in white Tony's, mate.
Yeah.
See if you could have got it in there. See if it was doable.
I even damaged my arch before as well, trying to jack it up.
But I didn't know if you wanted to let him know.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I slipped the jack and broke the arch, but it's a track car.
Only a little minor.
It's not the end of the world. There's been that many red flags today. Now there's one on the bloody M6, stuck in traffic. So we're back in the Garage of Dreams and I have stripped off the blow-off valve, the compact Shorty dual port. I believe that this, which connects a hose which went back into the intake, was too soft, and basically the spring inside there, if you can see that, was causing a boost leak. I'm throwing off my air-fuel ratio, so too much fuel's going in and it's not getting enough air. So to do away with that, I have got a VR22 electronically controlled. This one plugs into the car. The other plug that was loose earlier plugs into the boost controller. No more bypass plugs and all that kind of stuff. No more manual blow-offs back into the intake. It's all done. Plug and play. All right, it's a new day. It's absolutely cracking flags. So I already stripped off the Shorty. I'm going to try and get this fitted now. It's about 30 degrees out there, so pray for me. I've been chatting to a lad on Facebook about his Shorty, and he was saying that the banjo bolt on the top was loose and having problems with it. And I've seen a couple of other posts, and I get the impression that this is either not correct for my car or it's unknown that this works as well, and it's so simple. Complete fail. This VR22 TurboSmart on the VT330R SC180, no good. It just keeps fouling on the intermediate drive shaft bearing, so yeah, in the bin, as Marty would say.
In the bin.
Back to the Shorty. Now, as long as I can get the elbow on correctly and get rid of those boost leaks, which I've done in the past by just grinding it away a little bit, I'll be golden. But the cap itself, if you can see that, you can soften and harden the spring by screwing out the cap. Now this is the softest setting with just covering the O-ring. Cover that O-ring. I believe that was too soft and causing a boost leak and throwing off the AFRs. So let's get this dialed in properly, get it fitted back to the original BOV. Blower valve is in and it is set to loose. So I'll dial that in a minute. A little bit of oil there coming from that turbo return pipe, but we'll sort that out later. Probably needs a gasket. You can see that's contaminating all this stuff. Also fixed this. I was getting a knocking noise. You can see there, this intake pipe was hitting against there, and that's obviously rubbed on the floor. Right, so at this point I'm expecting rough idle. And then basically we're looking for the revs to come back down quite quick. It's not too bad. I'll let it warm up before I carry on doing that. We've got the blow-off valve dialed in. I think as soon as I give it a road test though, engine malfunction, service now, EML came on the dashboard. What do we expect? It's Baguettes and ASBOs. We love EMLs. Little backfire. Yeah. So I got FORScan out. Let's have a look at this. And basically the map sensor it's kind of like a predicted fault. It's not a fault. But then I have run throttle position sensor, map sensor, fuel pressure, and the BAP. Blip the throttle, everything's fine apart from the BAP. It is very noisy. So I've either got a bad sensor or we've got some wiring issues. Don't know if you can see that down there. Well, I took the sensor out, cleaned it, everything looks okay. Apart from in that pipe, I have a lot of oil. So I suspect we've got a faulty sensor. Bosh! I bought a new one. So let's get this swapped and see if we can get a good reading on the FORScan. So the sensor's swapped over. I'm plugged in with the FORScan. I'm going to try and reset the codes. Power cycle the ignition. Pending malfunction still there. Let's see if the fault goes away. It looks better, but it's still a bit noisy. That's not right. As you've just seen, we've changed that sensor and it's still not fixed the issue. So let's have a quick recap. We've changed the MAF sensor, we've changed the map sensor, we've changed the blow-off valve for the correct blow-off valve, and that came with a CEL plug. We've plugged that in, still got this issue. It's now a permanent fault. I cannot get rid of it at all. I believe it's down to the T-MAP wiring. I've been fiddling with it, I've been reading the BAP, and I have been getting some readings now, but it's not clean enough to clear those faults. So I believe the plugs are corroded. It's minging. Yeah, I've had enough. But what I'm going to do, honestly, I'm going to have to leave this video there. I've been trying to get this fixed to close this video off, but I just can't do it. So what you should do, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can see if I actually get this fixed and get it back out on track, and see if we get that under 2-minute lap time. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like, and also don't forget, tell your mum and tell your nan.